Chapter 8, Energy of Life. All right, so this chapter 8 is about chlorophyll and how it works in plants. As you can see, this is only 20 slides, so this presentation will be pretty quick. Living things need energy to survive. This energy comes from food. The energy in most food comes from the sun. Key concept number 1. Where do plants get the energy they need to produce food? Plants and some other types of organisms are able to use light energy from the sun to produce food. Organisms such as plants, which make their own food, are called autotrophs. We've talked about this before. Autotrophs, auto, make their own food, automatic. Organisms such as animals, which we are, that must obtain energy from the foods they consume are heterotrophs. Chemical energy and ATP. Energy comes in many forms, including light, heat, and electricity. Energy can be stored in chemical compounds. An important chemical compound that cells use to store and release energy is adenosine triphosphate, abbreviated as ATP. Alright, so pay attention to the ATP and stuff because we're going to see that a lot of that. ATP is used by all types of cells as their basic energy source. ATP consists of adenine, which you see right here, located right here. The ribose, which is a 5-carbon sugar. And then 3 phosphate groups. So in this diagram you see up here, this little pentagon represents the sugar, 5-carbon sugar. See, 5 sides, 5-carbon sugar. And then 3 P's equals the 3 phosphate groups. This is an ATP. The 3 phosphate groups are the key to ATP's ability to store and release energy. Storing energy. ADP has 2 phosphate groups instead of 3. A cell can store small amounts of energy by adding a phosphate group to ADP. ADP plus phosphate is like a partially charged battery. You have the energy, and then once it converts to the ATP, see there's diphosphate and triphosphate, okay? So the diphosphate means there's 2 phosphate groups. Tri means there's 3, okay? So if it's a tri or ATP, that's a fully charged battery, where an ADP is a partially charged battery. Releasing energy. Energy stored in ATP is released by breaking the chemical bond between the 2nd and 3rd phosphate. Key concept number 2. What is the role of ATP in cellular activities? The energy from ATP is needed for many cellular activities, including active transport across cell membranes, protein synthesis, and muscle contraction. ATP's, this is your key concept answer, ATP's characteristics make it exceptionally useful as the basic energy source of all cells, using biochemical energy. Most cells have only a small amount of ATP because it is not a good way to store large amounts of energy. Cells can regenerate ATP from ADP as needed by using the energy in foods like glucose. Alright, so that's the end of this section. We'll go through the section quiz real fast. Don't worry about answering it. Just pay attention and listen. Number 1, organisms that make their own food are called A. Autotrophs. Number 2, most autotrophs obtain their energy from B. Sunlight. Number 3, how is energy released from ATP? A phosphate is added, and adenine is added. A phosphate is removed. A ribose is removed. C. A phosphate is removed. Number 4. How is it possible for most cells to function with only a small amount of ATP? ATP can be quickly regenerated from ADP and P. Compared to the energy stored in a molecule of glucose, ATP stores much less energy. And this is the end of the section.